What's going on, everyone? Welcome to today's stream. We've got Thursday night football coming at you. Larry says, let's get fired up, boys. I'm fired up. Ben, are you fired up for Thursday night football?
I'm more fired up than Davis Mills in the locker room right now.
Yeah, you know Davis Mills has the smelling salts out. They're getting passed around. Everyone's getting hype. Everyone's getting jacked up. I'm excited for the game. What's up, Jazz? What's up, Papa Wilk? How y'all doing? And how's everyone else doing? Let us know.
You know what's funny, Nick? 2 weeks ago, people are like, "Oh man, this Panthers Texans game's gonna be such a terrible matchup." Da 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 da. And hey, Texans have looked all right. Panthers have surprised people, so here we are.
Yeah, I mean it's a 2-0 team and a 1-1 team, right? I mean what is there to complain about? So the Panthers, especially defensively, have looked really good this year. Coming in at 2-0, they have a 19-14 win over the Jets that probably wasn't as close as that 5-point score indicates, and then a 26-7 thrashing of the New Orleans Saints last week. Houston, on the other hand, comes in at 1-1 with an upset win at home against Jacksonville in Week 1. They won that game by 16 points. And then a loss last week on the road against Cleveland. Lost that game by 10, and in the loss, lost their starting quarterback, Tyrod Taylor, as I'm sure we are all aware of. So we have third-round rookie out of Stanford, Davis Mills, in at quarterback today for Houston. So, Ben, what do you know about Davis Mills? I think that's the big question mark here.
Yeah, who is this guy? So Davis Mills coming out of Stanford. Trying to think of a good comp to him. There's actually one, but no, you know what? I'm gonna go with it. It's Ryan Fitzpatrick.
So what makes Davis Mills and Ryan Fitzpatrick a good comparison?
Well, it's not the beard because Davis Mills is a very clean-shaved guy. He looks pretty young. But as far as their game style, Davis Mills likes to take shots, and he will make some very good throws, and he will also make some pretty risky, stupid turnovers, which is ironic, Nick, because Ryan Fitzpatrick has one of the highest Wonderlic tests ever, and Davis Mills actually has one of the highest for his class, which is, I think, 36, which is a really good score. But why do these quarterbacks who have high Wonderlicks also have turnovers? Or maybe I'm using two bad examples here. But
yeah, well, so I guess there's a couple things here. So one, both guys obviously went to really good schools, Harvard and Stanford, two of the best schools in the entire world as far as quality of education is concerned. Maybe not quality of football, especially right now with Stanford. But I think that they're guys that kind of understand the risk and reward, right? So sometimes you need to take risks in order to have good outcomes. If you sit there and you check the ball down all game, are you going to get blown out? No. But are you putting your team in the best opportunity to win? Also, probably no. And I think that sometimes you got to understand that. So maybe that's where your Wonderlic connection is coming from.
Mm-hmm. And then there's the whole conversation of, is there any correlation between the Wonderlic and if you're a successful quarterback? We're not going to get into that.
That's a whole nother story.
Yeah, we're not going to get into that. But what I will say, though, the last 4 games of Davis Mills' career, they were all games on the road. Granted, this was a COVID year last year, so, on the road, whatever that really means without fans. But he had 4 straight wins, and he looked decent. And granted, it's college, right? But this is all we really have to look at versus, a player who's been in the league. I guess we had about a half of football from him last week. But other than that, that's all we can really go off of. But he did have a game, right? And it looks like 32 for 47. He had 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 428 passing yards against UCLA. and that was the last game of his college career. So that's just a little bit about Davis Mills.
Yeah, so he's a guy who has some upside, can sling the ball. Remains a little bit to be seen, I guess, if the decision making is going to translate. Is that a fair one sentence TLDL, too long, didn't listen assessment of Davis Mills?
Yeah.
All right. So taking that into account, let's talk about the lines in this game. So Carolina on the road is an 8-point favorite. I think this is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, road favorite that we've seen this year. We've seen a couple bigger home favorites, but I think that this 8 points might be the biggest road favorite we've seen all year. And the total is coming in at 43 points. If you want money lines, Carolina is minus 420. I don't know what that's trying to tell us. But Houston is plus 320. Maybe they're trying to say you have to be high to bet Carolina's money line. I don't think that's what they're trying to tell us. I think it's just a coincidence.
But you should probably not do that.
No, you probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
So on the model end of things, as you all know, or as many of you know, we have a model here at Capwise that simulates NFL games. It takes in the quarterback, it takes in running backs, it takes in passing options, it takes in defensive stats, it takes in offensive tendencies for each team, and it play-by-play simulates each game out. And we do that several thousand times for every game, just to get an idea of how they're going to go. And we've been doing that with a lot of success for the first 2 weeks. The model, I believe... I can't go look at the thing because I would have to close out of Ben. But I think it's like 38 and 26 on spreads and totals through 2 weeks. And all of these scores have been given out on the stream before the game start. So no fudging numbers there. If I'm fudging numbers, call me out on it, because it's just an honest mistake. But this is, I would think, the most controversial score that we've had from the model through the 2 weeks that we've done simulations so far.
For sure.
So the model actually has Houston winning this game. Not just covering 8 points, but it actually has Houston winning the game outright. The model has been high on Houston. It had Houston winning as, what was it, a 3.5 point dog in week 1? It had Houston winning that game by several points, and it was correct there. It had Houston covering last week against Cleveland, which they did end up doing. I'm a little bit surprised to see this, if I'm being completely honest. So model score 25.04 to 21.90. So it's favoring Houston by about 3.25 points. And it's also putting the total up to almost 47, which is an over about 4 points. I'm not saying go bet Houston money line, but this is a little fishy. So what are your thoughts? What were your first impressions when you saw this?
First impressions were, wow, it has the Texans winning outright by a significant margin, I would say. That was my first impression. My second impression, though, is, well, Panthers are on the road. You know, everyone and their mothers betting the Panthers tonight, showing around 85% of the handle. So, I guess I could see a scenario where the Texans surprise people, mainly because Davis Mills is such a wild card in this scenario, right? Like, he's a guy we barely have any film on. But yeah, a money line is a tough sell for me, but I definitely can see the Texans covering tonight. Absolutely.
Yeah, I feel much better about saying the Texans cover as opposed to saying the Texans win.
Yeah.
If the Texans win, I'm 100% going to brag about it. But if the Texans don't win, I'm not going to be surprised. I'm not expecting the Texans to win, despite what the model says here.
But Nick,
I do like the cover.
I will say, if we were to say, what day and time of the week would a Texas upset be most likely if we were to say Sunday night, Sunday during the day, Monday night, or Thursday night? What would you say?
I would say they're all equally likely. You would probably say something different.
No, I 100%. I think that in a Thursday night spot, it absolutely favors the home team more than any other spot just because of the travel, right? 2, Davis Mills, right? No, like zero way to kind of prep for this guy. So the Panthers are coming in blind.
Yeah, they are.
And I personally bet that the Texans already at plus 8.5.
Where'd you get plus 8.5?
I got it at DraftKings earlier.
Okay. Yeah, I like it much more at plus 8.5. We were waiting to see if we could get a line move because this was on the short list to make an official play. I think we wanted another half a point or point for Houston before doing that. But at 8, I bet it at 8 personally as well. So I guess if both of us bet it, but it's not an official play.
Yeah.
Personal plays. So what about this total? I don't want to touch the total.
Yeah. It's pretty low, and I don't really just I here's my skepticism on skepticism.
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 That sounds like somebody's Twitch username.
Yeah. Here's why I don't like the under, because I could see some big plays in this game, just some quick scores.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly from Carolina.
Yeah, we've also seen Houston jump out to early leads both in week 1 and in week 2. Of course, that's with Tyrod Taylor at quarterback. But I mean, it's the same everybody around Mills. And he did get a half a game. I don't think they're going to put the kiddie gloves on. I think they're going to let the kid do his thing.
Skepticism. That's what Larry says. Skepticism. That's going to be my new Twitch name.
Yeah.
My personal name.
Skeptic Schism.
How did Mills do in preseason? That's actually a pretty good question.
Yeah, I don't really place any stock in preseason stats or performance. I think it's a lot of variables at play that aren't just playing well, as weird as that is to say.
And it's like if he played well, let's say, do we change the line if he played really bad? Like, yeah, what are we really getting out of that, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think basically nothing. I real quick, I can't find preseason stats.
Yeah, they're hard to find at times.
Mm-hmm. Teacher says Dodgers pulled through for the run line. I hate baseball. Baseball's pissing me off right now. We had. I'm gonna rant for a second. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I did something where I'm not too proud of. You know, I speak bankroll management and all that crap all the time. Well, I shouldn't say crap, but, 99% of the time I'm pretty disciplined. I slipped up last night. I put a significant amount on the run line. Not the 2.5. I did the run line. And Astros were just pissing me off because I'm like, what are you doing? And somehow, some way, luckily they were the road team. And they covered that, but that was yeah, baseball right now. I'm like, all right, I need to go back to football.
So today, we were on the Dodgers. The Dodgers had a 3-run lead and they blew it. We were on the Astros. The Astros had not the Astros, the Athletics. The Athletics had a 3-run lead and they blew it. We were on the Braves. The Braves had a 3-run lead and they blew it. What happened yesterday? The Dodgers had a 3-run lead and they blew it. The Astros had a 3-run lead and they blew it, and then they got it back. But it's a mess. I'm done with baseball. I'm over it. So, anyways, I want to take a.
For me, Nick, no opinion on this total. I would say fade for me.
Okay, I want to take a look for a second at the team totals in this game. So Carolina is at 26.5 over under. Model has them at 21.9. And Houston is at 16.5. And the model has them at 25. So that Houston Texans team total over, especially being right a half a point below the key number, that's actually another interesting look. So this is something that we've seen more, even like hitting consistently with these teams where the model is, I guess, has an underdog that it's favoring. It's felt like a bit of a safer bet to take these team total overs as opposed to the covers. They're a little bit more consistent.
Yeah.
Still, I already bet the team the +8, so that's where I'm at. I'm not going to double down. I feel like it is a bit of a double down to take this 16.5 over. Yeah, baseball totals have been good. That is true. Got another one today. Also, by the way, thank you to Shortstop, Austin Lee, and Dadbod for the follows. Some of those came in right before we started. Dadbods came in during the stream. But we appreciate all of those very much. Guys. +9 on BetUS. I mean, the better the number is, the better we like it, I would assume.
Yeah,
that's how that works.
I guess I'll take every point I could get, I guess, but I don't have access to BetUS or BetUS.
Beat us. All right. So are we going to put down as our leans here? We're definitely going to take Houston plus the points. And
Nick, one other thing I just wanted to point out before we move on into props. We also have to ask ourselves, is Sam Darnold now just like a reincarnated new quarterback? Or are we looking too much into his first 2 starts? Because there were people who said that this move to Carolina, or the move by Carolina, was a huge mistake. And granted, he did get out of the Adam Gase system, so maybe that was a lot of it. But I will just say, if you're super high on Carolina tonight, just think about that maybe for a split second to say, like, maybe Sam Darnold could potentially see a little bit of regression.
Jazz, we'll talk about the player props in a little bit. There's a ton of variability in the player props, and it's also possible that these quarterback numbers have to get scaled down just very slightly in the same way that the rushing props did. But we're not ready to base official plays solely on the model in any regard. So Darnold is he, I guess, back to your point, Ben, is he the real deal? Is he a transformed quarterback? I mean, he played great last week against New Orleans, and New Orleans at least is supposed to have a pretty good defense. They were actually missing a lot of defensive starters last week. That's not something that should be taken for granted. I think they were missing 7 important defensive players.
And I think the defensive coordinator was out too for the Saints.
Yeah, they're missing 8 coaches overall. So I think it's important to take last week's performance, especially offensively by Carolina, with a grain of salt. And then the week before against New York, I mean, Darnold didn't play poorly, but it wasn't an overwhelmingly good performance either. I mean, they only put up 19 points. He was 24 of 35. But only like 10 yards of completion, just 1 touchdown.
And Nick, both those games are at home. This is on the road too. So
yeah, another thing not to be taken for granted.
But I will say, if Sam Darnold has a pretty solid game, goes for like 280, even like 250, if they don't have to continue to throw if they're up, and has 2 touchdowns and looks good, I think we can give him now the full benefit and say, like, okay, because just after 2 games and last week with what you said with all those players out and the coaches out, I can't use that as a solid sample.
No, it's not. It's not a good sample.
Yeah,
It's the
and
revenge
the
spot
line is
against New
indicative
York.
of that, though.
No, yeah, the line
is.
is indicative of it being a definitive turnaround for Darnold. And it's not. I'm not ready to make that statement. Is it possible? It is, absolutely. Is it enough
I've been
evidence?
big on him.
No.
I like Sam Darnold, but I also don't think he's a top 10 quarterback. Come on.
Yeah. All right. So you're ready to hop into the player prop market for this one.
Yep, I am.
All right. So starting out, as always, with the quarterbacks. We have Davis Mills passing yards over under 211.5. And we have Sam Darnold passing yards over under 265.5. And I will say, right off the bat, with Davis Mills in the model, it knows him as a quarterback with no NFL experience. He didn't throw enough passes last week for the model to say that there's a big enough sample size to infer anything from that. So this is basically quarterback who's never played in the NFL before stepping in. And I will say that just based on based on the talent around him, he is overperforming stat-wise in the model what we saw from Trevor Lawrence in week 1, what we saw from Zach Wilson in week 1, what we saw from Mac Jones in week 1. And I think what we're expecting to see from Justin Fields later on this week as well.
And if you were to say what is the difference between Mills and those three?
Mm-hmm. I think the easy answer is the presence of Brandon Cooks.
Well, I actually was going to even take it a step further with something else.
Well, what is that?
The expectations.
Yeah, that's another thing. The model doesn't factor in expectations at all.
The model, and I know I'm kind of jumping around, but I will say, though, and maybe it's a little bit of speculation, but I mean, of course, he's probably nervous, right? But it's a different type of expectation going into this game versus Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields. It's different because the expectations, if he fails, it's different. It is. So, anyways, we can go back to what you were saying. Brandon Cooks is probably the difference here.
I kind of think it is. We'll get to that in a second. But do you have any leans on either of these yards? So I will also, I guess, back to the point that I was going to make. Don't read too much into this Davis Mills 237.9 passing yards number that's coming out of the model. There's a lot of variability in that number. He could come out and ball out and hit that or eclipse it. He could really struggle. We just don't know. The model is just saying this is a guy making his first start. Don't know anything else about him. All we know is the weapons he has and the defense he's going up against.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of variability there. But yeah, Ben, go ahead.
My leans are over for Mills and under for Darnold.
Over for Mills and under for Darnold. I do think I agree with this Mills over lean. And also, I do actually think that Darnold's number in that 269.5, I think that seems too high. I know the model has him over. And I know Jazz was asking about why that was in the model play. But I think that the Panthers are not going to have success through passing the ball a ton. I think if they're going to have success, it's going to be McCaffrey.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is a low scoring game. Totals
at the
at
same
43.
time, Nick, McCaffrey will rack up those receiving yards, but
yes, he will.
As far as like a deep threat, not so much McCaffrey. Obviously, that's more.
You don't hit an over 269.5 with checkdowns to the running back.
No, not typically, unless McCaffrey breaks a 80-yarder.
True.
But you're not betting that, banking on him doing that.
Yeah, velocity. We're gonna get to the rushing props next.
Ooh, I'll tell you why.
And T-Cherry says NFL still hasn't ruled that Watson shouldn't play. What's to stop him from just showing up tonight? The backlash.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't want to get too much into that, but that would be probably the stupidest thing an organization has ever done in the NFL if they were to risk that.
Yeah, I think that the
and
Texans would have a massive
sucks,
problem selling tickets to women for the foreseeable future if they let Watson go out.
Like, what if breaking news comes out while he's playing? I know that's a crazy hypothetical, but like, what if they're like, yeah, we're actually criminally charging him while he's like throwing a pass? I actually was wondering that, not with him, but just like, what if a basketball player, right, had like a felony charge? Would the cops just show up like during the game, like he's shooting a free throw, and they just arrest him? Like, seriously, what would happen?
That would be incredible. I would hate that just because I'd feel bad for the people who were victimized by the person getting arrested. But at the same time, it would be absolutely hilarious.
Just like
it would be.
Don't owe the NFL anything. They're not going to be like, "Hey, maybe we should wait till halftime."
Yeah,
they're like, no, this is our job.
Yeah. This guy's doing his free throw routine.
Timeout.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys might want to call a timeout here. We're going to give you a heads up.
Yeah.
Davis Mills was recruited by 28 schools out of high school. Well, he picked a good one.
Yeah. Is that a lot of schools? I know there's some guys who are recruited by no schools, and there's some guys who are recruited by every school.
Yeah.
I get Mills is. I'm sure that's still on the high end.
Brazilian officials stopping the soccer game. Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah. Anyways, back to a non-Brazilian player. Yeah, Davis Mills. I like the over here, but I have another Davis Mills prop that I guess we're on the we're going to cover the passing props now. So should I just give that one out? I like a lot.
Yeah. What is it?
Oh wow, Dad bod going in for the dagger on Nick.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. How's Georgetown football?
You kind of set yourself up for that one. I like Davis Mills, not David Davis Mills over. I believe it's at 19.5 completions. It was at 18.5 earlier today, but I think 19.5 is probably where it's more readily available.
Yeah, I'm seeing over 19.5 plus 100 on Superbook, and on PointsBet, they don't have that prop. Let me pull up DraftKings on another screen real quick. But while I'm doing that, why do you like this?
So I'll give you my reasoning here. Wow, is it really 205 passing yards on DraftKings?
Oh, that's wild.
Hold on. So I use
DraftKings has been all over the place today. Yeah. Did you see the SGP errors that they were having?
Yeah. I think they launched that too early. They've had so many issues with that thing. I know football season started, but I don't think it was ready. Anyways, sorry, Jazz. So Davis Mills, I believe that in the third, fourth quarter, if they are down, they're definitely going to look to air the ball out, and it's not even forcing him to do so because he has been in a position back in college where he has thrown a high volume of completions and passes. So it's not one of those situations where you're just getting a quarterback who's your quote-unquote game manager, and now you're like, hey, run a hurry up, right? He's used to doing that, so I think it's going to be pretty natural for him. And number two, I definitely can see guys like Ingram, Lindsey, David Johnson getting a lot of dump downs tonight, right? Just especially with a quarterback coming in with his first start tonight. He's going to look to dump down the ball a little more than a typical quarterback would. So I think with those two factors, I do like this to go over 19.5 completions. I think he ends up closer to 23, maybe 22.
Yeah, I think that's a good look. So looking at the other games, I think that we also have some stats that, in a way, support this. So week 1, Zach Wilson went over this number. He had 20 completions on 37 passing attempts, which is a lot. Last week against New Orleans, Jameis Winston only had 11 completions on 22 attempts. But New Orleans only had the ball for 21 minutes that game. Their time of possession was so low. And I don't think... I mean, that's like one of the lowest times of possession we're going to see in the league all year.
That's really hard to do, even if you tried.
Yeah, because it's like the other offense is moving the chains very slowly, and then you're going 3 and out. Mm-hmm. But usually when that happens, the other team just starts to score faster and faster because your defense is tired. Like New Orleans only ran, they had 17 rushes and 22 passes. It's only 39 like completed offensive plays, where Carolina, they had 71. That's not going to happen again. But I think Mills, with the things like you said, the checkdowns, I think he's going to have an opportunity to go over this number as well.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of Davis to David tonight.
Mm-hmm. It's like last year where we kept screwing up San Diego and Los Angeles and kept calling the Washington football team the Washington Redskins. Mm-hmm. I don't think we've made either of those mistakes once this year.
I've been practicing religiously.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, and Las Vegas and Oakland, getting those switched up. Haven't made that mistake this year.
I just say Raiders. Whatever.
Yeah. David Mill.
See, Washington is so hard because they don't have the football team.
The football team.
That's why it's trickier with the Washington football team. Because you're just saying that basically the last official mascot, right? Or the name.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Look at this.
Hold on.
Larry said the R word and it was flagged.
Yeah, automod.
That's actually pretty good.
Larry, I might have to ban you for being racist.
That's actually hilarious that they don't let that show up. Oh,
I allowed it. Don't worry.
Try to say let's see. No, never mind.
I mean, you should be able to just swear. I don't think that the...
So at Mods Redskins?
I guess, yeah. I guess it has like a racially charged terms.
Well, we already allowed
filter.
It, so now it's
yeah, I guess I just whitelisted Redskins, which I'm fine with that.
Maybe the NFL said if we're going to air games on this platform, you have to put that in your algorithm.
Mm-hmm. Oh, one time last year, I think they banned Bengals. I was trying to put Bengals in the title of the stream.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't let me submit it because it contained offensive language. And then changing the word Bengals was the thing that fixed it.
Cuss words are fine.
Yeah. I mean, this is a adult stream. You can say fuck and shit and bitch and whatever. We'll say them too every now and then. It's all good.
We're talking about Deshaun Watson's rape allegations and
yeah.
Oh, the Redskins though. Ooh.
Yeah, no, can't say that.
Guardians.
Mm-hmm. So Ben, what do you think about Davis Mills over 1.5 passing touchdowns? Sitting,
I like the value there
in the plus 175 range.
I like the value. A 175 plus 175.
Yeah, I think that's not bad value either. I think that Mills is liable to put the ball in the end zone. I mean, he scored once in 1/2 last week. Mm-hmm. If the Texans are playing from behind, he's going to be putting the ball in the air.
Yeah, I think at 175, that's a decent value on something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't dislike that at all.
All right, you ready to move to?
Yeah, let's take a look at the rushing prop market. So we have I guess let's take a look at the numbers from Vegas first. So we have Christian McCaffrey over under 85.5. And Sam Darnold over under 6.5 on the side of the Panthers. So on the model side, they have McCaffrey down at 55.72. I do think that's a little bit low. It's possible. So I had to scale these from last week moving into this week. It's possible that the scaling that I did was not quite correct. At the same time, though, Houston's run defense has been surprisingly not too bad. And I think it's been better than the numbers show. So last week, they had been holding Nick Chubb to not very many rushing yards until he broke a couple big ones. So McCaffrey is very liable to break a couple big rushes, but I think the ground and pound isn't going to be an effective play style for Carolina here. So I think that's why we're seeing this number so low from the model. So I actually don't dislike that under 85.5 for McCaffrey. I'm not betting it, but that would be my lean. Especially also considering his usage in the passing game. You seem uncomfortable with what I just said.
No, sorry, I'm looking at something real quick. No, I'm on board with that. I think maybe it is a little low, but I also don't think the over is my lean here. It never was even before I saw the numbers the other day. So
yeah, I agree. So Velocity was asking earlier, why is the Ingram rush attempts so low? So is that a number from Vegas or from the model?
It's probably from Vegas because it's only 7.5, I believe. Someone in a Twitter Spaces earlier today was like, "Oh, this number is way too low. Like, pound the over." And then I said, "Hey, you do have to consider that if they're playing from behind, he might not see that." So
yeah, so I'm seeing 10.5 now.
Went up a little bit then.
Yeah, I mean that seems like a pretty reasonable number. Again, the model has them winning. I think if Houston wins, he definitely goes over this. And the model, of course, has Houston winning more often than they're losing, so it's going to be high. So I think if you like Houston to win, or at least to cover, be in the game, then this is a play that's correlated with that. I don't think I'd touch this, though. You have anything to say? Nothing to say?
No, I think it's a somewhat. Oh, we're back to Ingram.
Yeah.
No, nothing to say here. Sorry, I was just about to say I think CMC. I think it's tad inflated a lot of his numbers, so I'm just naturally going to stay away.
I'm on board. Yeah, I don't want to touch anything rushing related here, because I think a lot of it is extremely game flow dependent. It's two run defenses that have been pretty good. I think the model is overestimating how well Houston is going to run the ball. I think Ingram's totals are too high, especially at over 4 yards per carry. I think David Johnson is a little bit more reasonable, but still probably on the high end rushing wise. About 6 carries for 26 yards. But if Houston is behind, the rushing stuff definitely goes under. And if they're ahead, I think they definitely smash, because the numbers are really low. I mean, Ingram's rushing yard number is only at 38.5. Johnson's only at 16.5. Johnson especially can just hit that in one carry. Anything at all rushing prop related that you're interested in?
No, I took a look at him and just, anytime that I'm on the other side for the dog on a bigger spread, it just kind of puts a red flag in my head on these, because it's basically saying that I expect the game to be closer, and a lot of the model or a lot of the props are kind of dependent on it being closer to the spread, probably with the favorite winning. So I guess I could naturally look at more unders, but since I already have a play on the Texans at +8, it would make sense, because then I would basically be doubling up.
Short said Ben Loki looks like Mr. Beast, and he is completely correct.
Who's Mr. Beast?
Ben.
Bro, I'm in the weeds with sports betting. I don't have time for that.
He's a YouTuber. Should check out.
Oh, someone. Okay, actually, one of my nieces told me that. It's like, you look like Mr. Beast. Yeah, but I think I look better than him, though. Shit, he does have 124 million subscribers, though.
I mean, so do we, right?
Yeah, we're getting there.
Here, I put the comparison up on screen.
Oh, you are?
Is there, sorry to break your brilliant transition there.
No.
I can definitely see it. Ben does.
I can see it with the beard.
Mr. Beast looks like a Walmart Ben.
What am I, like a Sam's Club?
You're like the Balenciaga Mr. Beast.
Nice. Okay.
Ben's Club. Anyways, speaking of subscribers, if you guys have an Amazon Prime account, the chat bot must have disconnected or something. That's a little weird. The command didn't work. But if you have an Amazon Prime account, you should link that with your Twitch account. It's pretty simple to do. And what that does is it allows you to subscribe for free to one channel on Twitch every month for no additional cost. It's an included benefit of the Prime subscription that you have. Just helps support us a little bit. Just takes a couple minutes of your time. And you also get a really cool blue crown, like the one that I'm sure Larry would be happy to show off.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also actually get the purple star. And, most importantly, you get access to our beautiful emote. Anyways, not really sure why the chat bot is not connected.
Yeah, that's weird.
But that's okay.
Sometimes it does that.
Yeah, I just have to resync them. So let's take a look at the receiving prop market. And if you look at the model, there's one guy that instantly sticks out. And his name is Brandon Cooks. So Brandon Cooks, I had to take down all of the other props. So it's only this game that's up on the dashboard right now. But if you take a look at every single player in the league this week, Brandon Cooks is number 1 in projected targets. And Brandon Cooks is, I believe, number 2 in projected receiving yards. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
He's certainly not the first guy that would pop into your head thinking about who's going to lead the league in targets this week. But you know what's crazy is I completely agree with this. So Davis Mills played a half of football. He came in at the start of the second half last week. How many targets did Brandon Cooks have in the time Davis Mills was playing? And remember, Davis Mills threw 18 passes. Out of those 18 passes that Davis Mills threw, just in the second half, 10 of them were directed towards Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks finished the game last week with 14 targets total. Nobody else on Houston had more than 2.
Man. It's that Pac-12 connection, Nick.
Yeah, it is. Is the discrepancy going to be that big again? Certainly not. That's unsustainable. Mm-hmm. But I do think that Cooks is he's a reliable, safe target for Mills to go to. He's a safety blanket. So I don't think Cooks is, or maybe he could go for 8 catches, 9 catches for 100 yards. I don't think he's going to hit that high. But I do think that Brandon Cooks receiving yards over and receptions over are both good looks here. I think that the numbers that we're getting are quite reasonable. So I'm seeing Cooks receiving yards, 66.5. That number would vary by a couple yards depending on your book. And just receptions, I believe we're looking at 5.5. A little bit juiced 5.5, like minus 125 or so, but still 5.5. And I think with the target volume that he's going to get, it's a good look. And Ben, I want to make the connection here actually to a play coincidentally that also came against Carolina that we had back in week 1. We had Corey Davis over basically the same number of receiving yards in week 1. And what was the reasoning for that? That he's just like the one good wide receiver on that offense. Probably going to be passing the ball a lot. And that one wide receiver is a legitimately really talented guy. And what happened with Corey Davis in week 1? He hit that receiving prop by a mile. It was in the 60s. He finished with 97. So I think Brandon Cooks, again, rookie quarterback making his first start. Again, super talented wide receiver as far and away the number one option on the offense. Against Carolina, I think it's the same play as the Corey Davis one from week 1. And again, the model had Corey Davis as like top 5 in the league in targets in week 1.
Yeah. And Brandon Cooks on the season is tied for 6th. Actually, he's tied for 5th with the most targets.
And again, 10 of those came in one half of football from Davis Mills.
Reminds me of like Stefan Diggs last year. Just
Yeah.
every other play. It's like Allen Diggs.
Yeah, I really think that we're looking at basically the same thing here.
Can we take a look at Danny Amendola?
Yeah.
I want to see
Well,
what he's
maybe.
at. I honestly forgot.
I don't see a number up on Superbook. I don't see a number up on DraftKings.
Oh. Maybe that's why I didn't even see it. Yeah, interesting. Because in week 1, he had 5 targets.
Oh, Danny Amendola's out. That's why you don't see it.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, I think that even supports your case even more.
Yeah, and the other supporting thing that we had was Jamison Crowder being out for the Jets in week 1. And now you get the Jamison Crowder equivalent, Danny Amendola, the slot receiver. The only other security blanket out now. I love this Cooks play.
Nice.
Do you like a parlay bet with Cooks on receptions and yards? I don't hate it. I mean, you probably don't get great SGP odds. I mean, it probably comes in if the Cooks receptions is at plus or minus 125 and the yards is minus 110.
Yeah, that's my reservation there.
You're probably looking at like a plus 150 because of how correlated they are. But I think
hope.
I think plus 150 for that sounds fine. It might not even be plus 150. It might be like a plus 135 or plus 140. I'm curious what parlay odds you get for that.
I'm going to do it right now, actually.
Okay.
Curious.
Report back.
So over 64.5?
Yeah, whatever it is on that book.
Yeah, well, DraftKings, they just list them.
Oh, DraftKings might still be broken.
Well, I have it, but let's see here. And receptions, correct?
Yeah.
And the number is over 5.5?
Yeah.
DraftKings gives you plus 120.
Plus 120? Okay, yeah. I mean, that sounds right. Because how likely is it that you go over 5.5 receptions without hitting the yards? Very unlikely. And how likely is it that you hit the yards on just 5 or fewer receptions? I mean, I think that's a little bit more likely, but
You could up it to 74, and then you hit 160.
yeah, I would probably just take straights.
Yeah.
If you're looking at a plus 120 for that, I think that's not enough. I was thinking like plus 135 as where I'd start to take that. Anybody else that you're interested in We're frozen.
Hello.
Hello.
But
I have the
can
stream
you
up.
hear us? Yeah, maybe
I
it's
think
your,
we're good.
connection.
Yeah, no, I have the stream up on the side. I see it moving. No frame drops today because my internet's fantastic.
Nick, can we take a look at the Panthers, because I specifically want to see CMC and his receiving yards.
Okay, Dadbot says we're a bit spotty at times. Is that an us thing or is that a you thing? Because I upped the stream quality recently so that we have more like HD footage. I have proper hardwire gig up, gig down, so I should be able to do that. I would assume any spottiness is on your end. If we're spotty, also you can try and lower the resolution.
AT&T. So
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey receiving yards.
Yeah, Christian McCaffrey receiving yards. Looking at a number of 54.5. I think this is actually kind of funny, right? So the model on the rushing yards was way under, on the receiving yards, way over. It's like McCaffrey's rushing prop is what the model has him at for receiving, and McCaffrey's receiving prop is what it has him at for rushing. Clockwork said we were also cutting in and out for a second. Was that both of us cutting in and out? I know Ben cuts in and out sometimes just because the internet where he is not as good. I know because I was in the same vicinity for like a year. So my camera just went out of focus. That's kind of strange. But yeah, if we ever have any kind of quality issues, let me know. Want to make sure it's as good as possible. So anyways, McCaffrey. Tell us your thoughts here, Ben.
Yeah, my thoughts are it's enticing on the over here. But the thing with Christian McCaffrey is he has to break one of those, right? Like, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it needs to go for 30, 40 yards, but he needs to get a 20-yarder or something along the lines there. I'm curious what his longest reception, looking right at it, 17.5. So I think that's fair. I think he has to get one of those 17, 20-plus yard receptions, especially if they do get a lead and then they just don't throw the ball. So it's my lean, but I personally didn't bet it.
Yeah, and his longest reception has gone over that each of the last 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. Although, again, it's just like 2 weeks looking at one play each week.
Yep.
Yeah, we're good. Also, Marie, no worries.
You know, a popular one, Nick, that I saw a few times and spoke with someone was Dan Arnold for he's with the Panthers?
Yeah, he is with the Panthers.
Okay. I had to think about that for a second. I mean, I know you've been really good on those tight end props throughout the year or last year. How do you feel about that one?
How do I feel about that one? I don't really feel about that one way or the other. I think that McCaffrey's going to be the focal point, kind of regardless. The model has him at 44, which I think is quite a bit over what Vegas has him at.
Sam Darnold to Dan Arnold.
Yeah. If you take Dan Arnold's first initial and last name, it's Darnold.
Man, we're going to have a lot of that going on today with Davis Mills and David John. Man, have fun in the booth, guys.
It's Darnold to D. Arnold.
So, anything else here?
No, I don't think so. I think with Arnold, he hit it last week against New Orleans, but it looks like Ian Thomas is getting about half of the tight end targets. I don't think I had Ian Thomas as one of the guys for for Carolina.
Feels-
I think I took Zylstra or whatever over him as the last guy as a receiving option.
Feels like one of those coin flip plays, right? Like,
Yeah,
he could hit it, but just
it feels kind of one. I guess it's not one big play dependent. It's just, do the Texans give Darnold Arnold over the middle, or do they give him dump downs to McCaffrey?
Mm-hmm.
I think it like, as one of those things goes up, the other one goes down, because it's
totally
coming in the same part of the field, just at different levels. Anything else receiving wise that you want to look at?
Not really. I mean, DJ Moore, that's a popular overplay, but again, this could be in a position, I hope it isn't because I like the Texans to cover, but it could be a position where Panthers get up a few and they just don't look to air the ball out. So I just don't want to be on that side of it, knowing that going into the game.
Yeah, I agree. It's a light day for me prop wise, just because I don't want to have anything that's in conflict with the Texans pick, and I don't want to take anything that's too correlated with the Texans pick either.
Guess what the most popular prop is tonight via DraftKings, and this is one we have mentioned.
Most popular prop is going to be the Cooks receptions.
Nope.
Oh, is it the McCaffrey receiving yards?
It's up there. So Christian McCaffrey actually both Christian McCaffrey rushing and receiving are 3-2, and then number 1 is Mark Ingram over 9.5 rushing attempts.
Did that just go viral? Like, somebody said this is a good play, and then everybody was like, oh,
First thing I heard this morning, someone was like, this is insane. How is it only 8.5? And, naturally, I always just play devil's advocate. I'm like, well, it's probably just because of the game flow. And if they're down, they're not going to run the ball. But it didn't stop the public from moving it to, I guess, you said 10.5 now?
Yeah. I mean, 10.5 plus 100, but it's still 10.5.
I almost want to play the under now. I know it's just a difference of 2 carries, but no, I won't touch that. Also Phillip Lindsay and David Johnson, so it's not like it's just game flow. I mean, he also has to give up some of his touches to those 2 guys. So I don't know. That's interesting to see that. That's number 1.
I agree that it seems like totally not a even the type of play that the public would be on. Right?
No,
a public bet is a yardage over. Right? Not an attempts over.
Exactly.
Nobody wants to watch the game. And like, the one thing they're cheering for, like, just hand the ball off to Ingram. I don't care if he gets stopped, just give him the ball. Like, that's weird.
Yeah. Interesting.
Also, it's really strange that the 2 separate McCaffrey props are 2 and 3. Why not just take McCaffrey combined? Rushing and receiving.
Well, yeah, man, this NFL player prop locks Mark Ingram over 9.5 rush attempt. I'm just on Twitter.
Yeah.
Oh, so it was Todd Furman, pretty well-known dude on CBS Sports. He has that over.
Yeah, it's like somebody with a following has to have given that out.
I think it was one of those where one person said it and then it kind of spread, and then all of a sudden everyone's like, "Oh, hey, wait, Mark Ingram over, right? Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah." And then someone in the chat, Mark Ingram over.
Okay, so you see, if sports betting is if stuff is rigged against sports betting, this is the kind of thing that would be rigged. Right?
But how? What do you?
You just
implying?
get in. I'm not implying anything because I don't think that it's rigged. But people always yell at the refs for stuff, but like something like this is so much easier to rig than a spread or a total or whatever. Does SBE say to take it also?
Oh gosh, everyone's saying.
Yeah, I mean, I said in the Discord today that my favorite prop was Davis Mills over 0.5 snaps taken at quarterback.
Guys, I'll tell you something that is pretty crazy. It's not super shocking, but when I do this after I lock in a play, this isn't part of my handicapping. It's more of a let's check it out afterwards because I think it's silly to do this, but I will search in Twitter like New Mexico State plus 19.5. And more times than not, the plays for me that hit are the ones that never pop up any of those results. So take it for whatever, however you want to take that. I think when everyone in the world is on plays.
Yeah, so my thoughts on that real quick is I don't think it's about like public versus sharp type deal. I think it's just the plays that you tend to give out, especially with college football, are on more obscure games that one just have less people talking about them. And
the flip side, though,
and two, because there's not enough people talking about them and there's not a lot of people betting on them, the market isn't as tight.
Keen to it.
Yeah, or like the
Nick,
line.
I will say though,
yeah,
I searched the other sides too.
Oh,
like Iowa unders. Oh, I'm saying too much. I gotta stop. Actually, that's cat's out of the bag now on the Iowa unders.
yeah, that's okay.
Anyways, yeah, it's just a fun little activity I do.
Mm-hmm.
You type in Mark Ingram under.
There's nothing fun about Twitter.
Nothing's popping up. Not one person in the world is on Mark Ingram's under.
Handle on Mark Ingram under.
The handle,
$0.
99.9%. The biggest liability.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, T Cherry. I've done it probably. I'm actually not proud to say how many times I do this. It's a fun little activity I do.
Yeah,
you can't really do it for these marquee games like this, though.
I think that's a coincidence.
Well, so when the Mark Ingram goes under.
Mm-hmm. All right. So last but not least, we have a couple more minutes. Let's touch real quick on the touchdown prop market, and then give out our favorite plays for the day. So the model has two guys far ahead of everybody else, touchdown-wise. One of them, obviously, Christian McCaffrey. The other one, probably obviously based on the discussion that we had earlier, is Brandon Cooks. McCaffrey, touchdown-wise, if I can find it, I don't know where the
Gotta be like
touchdown props are.
110, right?
No, McCaffrey's got to be like minus 160 or something. Something crazy.
Might have to find another book.
Just go into PointsBet. Yeah. McCaffrey minus 250. Anytime touchdown score. Brandon Cooks plus 200. I usually don't like touchdown props, but I actually do kind of like this Brandon Cooks one. I don't like it as much as the other Cooks stuff that we talked about, but I think this is as good as it gets for a plus 200 touchdown prop.
I don't think I have anything I like.
Yeah, we never really like touchdown props.
Yeah.
All right, so even if we don't like touchdown props, we do have some stuff, props or not, that we like today. So Ben, between the spread and the total and all of the props at our fingertips today, what is your favorite bet?
Man, I almost was going to go with Texans plus 8. I thought about it for a second. But,
I was thinking about it too.
Yeah, but my favorite has to be Davis Mills over 19.5 completions. That's my favorite.
Yeah, and I'm gonna kind of tag along with a correlated play, And I'm going to say that of those Davis Mills completions, we're going to have, I guess I'm going receiving yards, not complete, not receptions. So the transition there was off. But my favorite pick for today is going to be the Brandon Cooks over 64.5, over 66.5, over 60 whatever and a half receiving yards.
66.5.
Let's find an actual number. 65.5 is what it is on Superbook.
Because then it's going to hit 65, and then it's going to I know what you're saying.
Okay, Brandon Cooks over 65.5 receiving yards.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have it.
Yeah.
So game kicks off probably in 5 minutes. You can actually find that on Twitch. Amazon, starting this week, has broadcast rights for the NFL. I'm seeing if I can go find the game.
Yeah, I was curious if it would. I bet when you go to the homepage.
I don't see it on the homepage yet. Are you sure it starts this week?
Yeah, I definitely got an email about it.
Well, it'll be up eventually, I'm sure.
It says Twitch.
It's probably twitch.tv/NFL.
Oh, I'm an idiot. It's October 7th.
October 7th.
Okay, but to my defense, from a marketing standpoint, and Nick, you know when I'm always like, you got to think people are stupid. Well, I am the stupid guy in this scenario.
Mm.
But if you're sending that out at 3 p.m. on a Thursday.
Yeah.
Anyways, so okay. It's October 7th.
So if you try and find the game on Twitch today, you will be unsuccessful because it's not there.
Yeah, you'll end up on Amaranth.
That's your favorite, Ben.
And then you're like, why did I just spend $20 for her to write my name on her arm? Life happens quickly.
Mm-hmm. Best $20 I ever spent.
Adrian Russell. Can't say I know too much about him.
Yeah, I don't know who.
I don't even. Is that a joke? Like, I actually don't even know who that is.
No.
Do you know who that is?
I kind of feel like this is a setup for like a Ligma type joke.
Oh.
Pray, babe, bring me the cocoa butter. Amaranth is streaming. Is that from something? That's from my mouth.
Yeah. That's
funny. No, Austin looks like he is familiar with Twitch. A lot of the people here are relatively new to Twitch, kind of just on here for us. I can see Austin's account.
2017.
Yeah. Austin knows what's up.
All right. I have to use the restroom and I have to watch these bets cash, so I'm out.
All right. Yeah. So
Zach Wilson.
Oh.
Wait. How do you?
It's a common typo.
We'll talk about that on Sunday.
Yeah, we will. So real quick, Ben, before you hop off, because you can't turn your camera off until we're done. I guess you can just leave if you want. If you really got to go to the bathroom or something. But so tomorrow at 4:00 Eastern, I believe, you can catch Ben here with Chase Howell talking about some college football. Saturday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, you can catch Ben and Jason Silva here with me behind the scenes talking about some more college football. It's like our college game day show. And then Sunday morning, 11:30 a.m. Eastern, we have 14 NFL games running through model scores, leans, best bets for all of them. Make sure that you tune in.
Mm-hmm.
And good luck tonight.
Good luck. All right, I'm seriously going to the restroom.
All right. See y'all next time.
Bye.